And welcome to Millbrae Community Television's presentation of the 55th Annual Battle of the Strip as the home Captown Capuchino Mustangs welcome in the visiting Mills Vikings. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Rebby Sahai, joined by always as my partner in crime, Daniel LaRue from RealGM.com. But I'm going to call you Danny. Danny, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me with you. It's an honor.
Well, it's 2 weeks into November, and you know what that means. The days are getting shorter, plenty of turkey is on the way, and it's time for high school football rivalry games. And we got a great one tonight between two longtime rivals, the 55th Battle of the Strip between Cap and Mills. And this year, Mills coming in with a little bit of momentum on a 2-game winning streak. Cap, having just moved up to the Ocean Division, having a struggling season, but you know what, Danny? You can take all that and just defenestrate it. That's right, you can throw it out the window. Because as both coaches told us, in this corner of the San Francisco Bay Area, only one thing's matter, and you make or break your season based on the Battle of the Strip.
Both coaches told us that before the game, and the importance of this game cannot be understated. Whether things are going well or things are going poorly, each high school cares a lot about it. Plus, it's senior night, so the players are extra amped up on both sides for this one.
Now, that's the big picture. Moving to the small picture, we've got a bunch of individual matchups here that should be pretty entertaining. Obviously, we have the Crazy Eights, both numbers 8 junior quarterbacks, Marquise Adkins and Tony Pellegrini. But, you know, 2 weeks ago at Jefferson, we told you a little bit about Mills Vikings wide receiver Victor Beglitzoff. However, maybe we should have told you a little bit about Mills star running back, number 1, the senior Antonio Jeffrey.
Well, Antonio Jeffrey was coming off some less impressive plays, and then he's run for over 450 yards in his last 2 games. He's been magnificent for them, and he's been a huge factor in their success in the last 2 weeks.
But his success tonight might come at a bit of a higher cost as he's going up against one of the premier linebackers in the league. That's right, big number 54, he of the kingly name, Royal LA, heads this tough Capuchino defense.
You got it. Royal LA was the linebacker of the year with this division last year, and he had over 50 tackles and 3 interceptions. He also plays offense. He's a quality offensive lineman. He's playing guard this year after playing center last year.
Well, it should be a very entertaining matchup. I know the players and coaches are ready. Looks like the fans are ready. I know we're ready. I hope you at home are ready. So sit back and enjoy as we bring you the 55th Annual Battle of the Strip. It's time for some football on MCTV.
And now, would you please rise, face the flag at the west end of Carl Reina Memorial Field, while the Capuchino Band, under the direction of Miss Colleen Savage, will play our national anthem.
thank you very much to that wonderful rendition of the national anthem played by the Capuchino High School pep band. Danny, it looks like we're about ready to go. How about we take a little look at the starting lineups? Looks like it's going to be Mills on offense first. Capuchino kicking off to Mills.
Mustangs will kick off to the Vikings. Andy Bunker kicking off for Capuchino.
And the crowd is riled up here, ready for the battle of the strip to get under the way. Vikings, Jaime Vikings kicking off. Antonio Jeffrey and Joshua Sved back to receive.
It's a deep
and here's
kick.
Sved. Sved takes it up to the middle. Gets to about the 30-yard line before he's met by a host of Mustangs. And the ball is on the ground.
It looks like it was whistle dead.
So that is called a downed football, and Mills will begin its offensive possession here, right on the 30-yard line. Keep your eye on number 54, jogging to the huddle right now for Capuchino. That's Royal Ale, the leader of this staunch Mustang defense. So let's see what the Vikings do here on 1st and 10. There's Beglitzoff in motion. Let's see if they give it to him. They do. Beglitzoff with a catch, makes one man miss, and pushes forward to about the 42-yard line. That'll be good for a first down. It'll be 1st and 10 Vikings.
2 weeks ago, we saw Mills run similar plays, and they used the motion to create separation and also try to figure out what the defense is doing. There, they used it to get Beglitzoff a little bit of space. He maximized that space.
We also saw plenty of this, Danny. The no huddle for Mills as they go quickly to the line of scrimmage again. The chains need to catch up. Adkins back to throw. Delivers over the middle. It is caught by Beglitzoff again. He takes it to the Capuchino 43-yard line. That'll be another first down, and Mills with first downs on successive plays, Danny.
They did, and Adkins there had plenty of time to throw, more than in most of the plays that we've seen, and he was able to wait for Beglitzoff to get some space, and he made a nice catch and actually got some yards after the catch despite having plenty of coverage.
So here in an unusual twist, Mills huddles up. The Capuchino fans imploring their team to hold on defense, Danny.
And you can tell that it's both senior night and a rivalry game because this crowd is ready to roll.
Let's see how the Vikings handle it. And there's a whistle, a timeout by the Vikings. And maybe this would be a good time to look at those lineups, Danny.
Could be. We'll have to see why Mills went to that after already going to a huddle before that play.
Possibly a mix-up in communication. Well, for the Mills on defense, the Vikings line up John San Jose, Saleh Lange, and Amin Alaze on their front line. On the front line for the Mills on the offensive side, it's Kevin Kwok, Gabe Sanchez, and Justin DeSan is the center. Ryan Del Rosario, also their linebacker, and Lawrence Wong is the right tackle. Then in the backfield, Mills runs a 4 wide receiver offense with J.P. Sanchez, Joshua Sved, Victor Beglitzoff, the do-everything man, and Jeff DeZapata, number 11. And of course, the quarterback for Mills is Marquise Atkins, and of course, we talked about Antonio Jeffrey in the opener.
We did.
So here's Mills and Atkins with the give to Jeffrey. Jeffrey takes it along the right side. Takes up, he's past the first down and more. Now he's to the 25-yard line before he's pushed out of bounds at the 25-yard line. It'll be another first down for Mills.
That was a great use of space there by Jeffrey. He had a pretty comparatively narrow lane compared to what we saw 2 weeks ago, and he generated plenty of space and maximized it for another first down.
So here's Mills on another first down, and the pitch to Jeffrey. Jeffrey around the left side, and he breaks one tackle, breaks 2 tackles, finally brought down by guess who? Royal Ale on the tackle right around the Capuchino 26-yard line.
I believe this is going to be the first second down for Mills all game.
And a large amount of game has passed, indeed.
Looks like it's going to be about second and 3. And again, a good use of space. They had a little bit of blocking, and Jeffrey got past, well, not past the first tackler, but he got a little bit of space after LA got there.
So let's see how the Vikings handle second down. Beglitzoff in motion, and the give to Beglitzoff. He's got Jeffrey as a blocker. Jeffrey blocked one man, but unable to block Fifita. That's George Fifita, number 44. Punky Fifita is a DN. George Fifita is the linebacker.
And you have to be impressed on a play like that from Mills that even though the defense had a pretty good job of reading it, they still got the first down. And it was interesting there. You saw the two players on Mills that we talked about before the game. We talked about Beglitzoff, we talked about Jeffrey, and there you saw Jeffrey blocking and Beglitzoff taking the running off the edge.
I beg your pardon, it is Punky Fifita who is the linebacker. George is the defensive end. So here's the Vikings again on first down. And they're going to Beglitzoff, and it's over his head, an uncatchable ball. David Ortega in coverage on that one.
And an interesting idea considering most of the time we see Beglitzoff get the ball relatively close to the line of scrimmage and then run in space, but there they were trying to throw it to a specific spot, and the throw just wasn't where it needed to be.
Taking a shot for the end zone on first down, Danny?
Hard to deny it in a rivalry game like this. Try to get some points on the board and get momentum early on your side.
Well, let's see what Coach Mike Krieger dials up here. The second down for the Vikings, and it's an option. Adke's on the options, and he's going to keep it. He gets up to the Capuchino 7. It will be third down for the Vikings, and facing a potential turnover on downs, or a potential fourth down here. Let's see what the Vikings do.
Their running game so far has been more consistent, especially in terms of short yardage, so that's what I would expect, though they can run a short pass, which in effect is very similar to a run, except you have the risk of the catch.
Let's see if the Mustangs muscle up and beef up the interior line here. They're in the red zone. So it is 3rd and 4. Atkins with a give to Jeffrey. Jeffrey goes off tackle into the end zone. Touchdown, Antonio Jeffrey, right on cue, Danny.
Quality blocking, quality running leads to a touchdown. Exactly what they needed on 3rd down and 4.
And an impressive statement drive by the Vikings coming right in here, driving all the way down the field and scoring.
Yeah, if you start with the ball on your own 30 and you only have 2 second downs and 1 third down, it's hard to take that as anything but a huge positive.
We mentioned Victor Beglitzoff. No matter the great receiving, no matter the great linebacker play, he's also their kicker. And Joshua Sved on the hold.
He's also their punter too, let's note.
And that is good. So the score is 7-0 Vikings with 8:28 still left in the first quarter. My goodness, Danny, that was quick.
It certainly was, and when you run no huddle a fair amount, you can see those quick strikes and you can see a defense get a little bit tired over the course of the game.
Now, Danny, when we talked to Coach Krieger, he mentioned how that first drive, that initial drive, is all scripted plays, just like it was taught by the legendary Bill Walsh. I guess the script worked out pretty well on that drive.
Yeah, absolutely. You see that kind of success, and maybe that consistency and preparation can help a team get more comfortable in what certainly appears to be a hostile environment.
So now Cap needs to answer following that statement drive by the Vikings. Back to receive for Cap. It's Chris Costa and Gabriel Campos. And the ball is fielded by Campos, and he'll take it to the 30-yard line. Dishes one man, gets it to about the 37 before he's forced out of bounds by John San Jose.
On that return, we saw the benefit when a ball is kicked to the side of when you can get past your first defender. There's some space there. He got an extra probably about 10 yards by dodging the first guy and waiting for the second man to get to him.
So let's see what head coach of the Mustangs, Josh Horton, comes up with here. And it will be Pellegrini to the line under center with Fifita in the backfield. Costa in motion, and they give to Ortega. Ortega on the left side, and gains about 5 yards on a solid first down gain there by the Mustangs.
They ran the ball up the middle, but they got enough of a push on the opposing defensive line and got 5 yards. It's solid momentum to start out their first play of the game.
And you can see Cap in that offense use a lot of deception. They faked it to Costa, delivered to Ortega, and he got the 5-yard gain.
And you saw Costa do the flashy jump, which maybe distracted one defender. You never know.
So here's Cap in the wishbone again, and they give to Fafito right up the middle. He powers ahead. Looks like he's got enough for the first down.
It's going to be very close, but it looks like he got it. And if you can get 5 yards on every run, you'll be doing pretty well.
That wishbone offense, Danny, it's so important for that fullback to be able to make headway right up the middle. That leaves room on the outside for those wingbacks to go on the sweep.
It looks like they're going to have a third down, though, so they didn't get exactly 5. They just... Actually, we will see.
Official timeout, looks like.
We'll have to see what they're discussing. To me, it looked like he got enough for the first down, but we'll see on the spot.
Unfortunately, in the Peninsula Athletic League, Danny, there is no video replay. So here's the Mustangs on third down and 1 yard. And pressure on Pellegrini. He escapes one man, escapes two, but cannot escape Jaime Alfaro, who came charging in after Pellegrini had been slowed down, and it will be fourth down for the Mustangs.
It was surprising to see them run a play like that, considering on the first 2 plays they had done a good job running with a running back up the middle and using the extra blockers and using that, but there they decided to go with the quarterback, and there weren't any players there to take the men who were coming at him, so he couldn't really generate the space and generate the first down.
Perhaps one of those decisions, Danny, that Coach Horton may second guess. However, there's plenty of football left with 6:38 remaining in the first quarter.
And we very well may see them go for it here on fourth down. It's such a short distance. They could punt. They could go for it.
That's right, Danny. It looks like the offense is lining up. Pellegrini's back there with Fafita. And it's a high snap. And it is recovered by the Vikings. Mills football. That was Jefta Zapata, I believe, who fell on that amongst many others.
And you have to be disappointed early on in a game if that happens to you. And because that gives, not only if we're talking about momentum, but it gives field position to Mills, a team that already ran a much further distance down the field for a touchdown.
So now the pressure's really on that Cap Mustangs defense. Try to make up for that turnover right here. Sved in motion, and they deliver to Sved. But it's too long and incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10.
That was thrown too far away from him for him to make the catch. He had a little bit of real estate there, but not a ton, so probably would not have been a large gain if he caught it. So compared to last possession, where Mills started with the ball on their own 30, they already, off of the fumble, they start with the ball on the Capuchino 38. So that's substantially better field position, though the score is not definite here.
Let's see if it leads to a substantially equal result. Here's Adkins on 2nd down. Pressure shown by the Mustangs defense. It's a handoff to Jeffrey, it appeared. He'll gain about 2 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
That seemed like a fairly unusual thing to have Jeffrey run straight up the middle, especially on 2nd and long, but they might have seen some sort of advantage that didn't end up materializing.
Well, you remember, Danny, how Coach Krieger talked about how he challenged Antonio Jeffrey to be a tougher runner up the middle. I think he was thinking of plays like that.
He certainly was, and that's part of the reason why having a lead that they can afford to do things like that.
So 3rd down here for the Vikings. Let's see if they pass. Keep your eye on Beglitzoff. They went for him, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by David Ortega. and Ortega moving the other way. He's got one block and brought down by Josh Sved at the Capuchino 34-yard line. And Danny, we said the Cap Mustangs defense needed an answer for that turnover, and they sure did.
They certainly got help from Adkins there. He has Beglesov, a very talented receiver, and he didn't have him in a perfect position, and so that's what happens. And Cap gets the ball back in better field position than they had it before.
So a huge turnover, and you can see Ortega making more out of that play. The interception wasn't enough for him. And so Capuchino will take over here. I'm sorry, Danny. Capuchino will take over here on its own 34.
And getting a run back on a play like that is huge because Capuchino's offense had trouble and actually stalled out on the first possession. So to get an extra 20 or so yards on the interception return is big for them.
Let's see if the momentum helps them here. It's a give to Costa. Costa met in the backfield and no gain on the run. That was Saleh Longi, the big nose tackle in there to clog up that hole.
And that's exactly why you try to have a big nose tackle, to make it so that runs up the middle are runs into pressure and runs into men, and that's exactly what he did there.
Second and 10 here for the Mustangs. Pellegrini in the backfield, not in the wishbone, with Fafita. And he passes and delivers it to Khaled Arakat. Arakat with the catch, and he is short of the first down. Tackled by Ryan Del Rosario and Christian Miranda, among others.
Quite a nice throw by Pellegrini. It had a long way to go laterally, even though it didn't get a ton of yardage down the field. It was a nice throw, a nice catch, and he didn't get enough for the first, but got a quality gain.
So here's another third and short for the Mustangs, Danny. You think they're going to run up the middle this time or another quarterback sneak?
I don't think they're going to run it with the quarterback again, but I do expect a run here.
They'll line up in the wishbone.
It looks from the spot like they're going to give them the first down.
Let's wait and see here.
Yeah.
And first down, Mustangs. It's official without a measurement. And the Mustangs will get 3 more plays, perhaps 4.
It was just enough, but that works in a situation like that. They needed 1 yard or 2 yards, and they got a short distance and plenty. They didn't even need to measure it. So a success for Capuchino.
So they'll come to the line in the shotgun again. That's Juan Rodriguez at the bottom of your screen, along with Lawan Becerra, but they run the ball to give it to Chris Costa, and he gains about 2. It'll be 2nd and 8.
On Cap's first 2 runs of the game, they got about 5 yards, and that was pretty successful. You can do well with 5-yard runs. Since then, it's been a little bit narrower. It's been 2-3 yards or even less.
And that one was interesting, Danny. They hadn't lined up in their running formation, which is the flex bone. I've been missaying it. They lined up in the shotgun, a passing formation, and then they ran the ball.
Trying to catch the opponent off guard.
So here they are in 2nd down, the shotgun again, 3 wideouts, Costa, Campos, and Rodriguez. He looked like he was to deliver to Campos, but instead, it's delivered to Fafita for a first down and more. And all the way to the Viking 38-yard line is big George Fafita, the fullback.
In certain situations, a more broken play can work out pretty well because the defense wasn't disciplined enough to stay on their assignments. So once Pellegrini broke away from the first guy, he had Fafita, and he had plenty of space. He got a first down without too much trouble.
And you know, Danny, sometimes a fullback isn't that involved in the offense. They just want him to block. But I think we've seen here so far, they've got Fafita involved in every which way, running and catching the ball.
And he's had some of the best runs, so you got to believe they have faith in him.
So let's see if they go back to Fafita again here on first down. Looks like they're back in a pistol-type flexbone formation. A low snap, picked up, recovered by Pellegrini, and he's around the right side. Gets to the 40-yard line, gets to the 35. And a great play there by Pellegrini, making something out of nothing, Danny.
It certainly didn't appear that there was much there, but by getting all the way to the end, he actually beat the defenders there, and by doing so, gained an extra couple yards.
So a solid 5-yard gain there on first down, and it'll be 2nd and 5 for the Mustangs after Pellegrini gets a word from Coach Horton.
I would fully expect to see another run here, though I believe they have passed in second and short at least once in this game.
Well, they'll come out in the shotgun again. Rodriguez and Campos on the bottom of your screen. Costa and Ericat on the top. He's looking at Costa, and it is caught at the 25-yard line, and it'll be another first down for the Mustangs as they're starting to get some momentum here, Danny.
They are, and the receiver there turned around and caught the ball before the defenders even reacted. So if you're looking for about a 6-7 yard gain, that's a great way to get it.
Great timing on the throw and great execution of the play results in a first down.
When you don't give the defense enough time to react, that's oftentimes your best time to strike on a passing play because you get a little bit more wiggle room, and they didn't even need the wiggle room there. It was a beautifully executed play.
So it's 1st and 10 from the 26, and Pellegrini back to throw again, delivers over the middle, too high for Campos.
And as we talked about how the previous play was beautifully executed, on that one the throw just was not in the right place. He would have needed a pretty large ladder to get to that one. And now you can see that they're in an interesting situation because at 2nd and 10, you want to get some yardage because this is pretty clear 4-down territory because it's too far for a field goal, but too close to punt.
They'll line up in the pistol again with Costa in the backfield, as well as, looks like, Litili Halafihi. But they give it to Costa, and he gains no yards, or one perhaps. It'll be 3rd down.
The interior line there for Mills did an excellent job not giving any space to run through. They didn't have any seams, didn't have anything, so you can't get many yards when you do not have daylight and when you run right in the interior of the formation. It's very difficult to bounce it out and get running, even at this level.
All right, Danny, 3rd and long. Let's see what the Mustangs dial up here. It'll be another shotgun formation. Pellegrini back to pass, looking for Ericat, and well over his head. Defended well on that play, too, by Antonio Jeffrey.
Defended well, and that was an incredibly hard throw. You don't see many quarterbacks outside of the elite level in high school that can make a pass that in that narrow window because there was a man on him, and there was not a ton of space on either side for him to get the ball and make a clear catch. The defender could have made it on a high arcing pass, could have even defended it if it was well thrown.
There's a flag on the field. Have not received the signal yet as to what it is. The refs appear to be discussing, and they will pick up the flag. No. There's the signal. Holding.
Defensive holding.
Defensive holding. And that will result in an automatic first down for the Capuchino Mustangs.
And that's the best they could have hoped for in a situation like that because they were looking at a pretty dire straits, but now they have a first down in threatening range.
And sometimes, Danny, that can happen when you just pass the ball, throw it up there, hope for a flag, and they got it here.
We said the play was well defended. Seems like it was a little too well defended.
So here's Pellegrini on the first down. They give it back to Fafita. Fafita running off tackle to the left side, and he gains a solid 6 yards. It'll be 2nd and 4 with the Mustangs knocking on the door.
And those are the interior runs that you look for if you're at Capuchino because he had space, he got a nice little gain, and he got some yards after the tackle too. It's a solid run by Fafita.
And there appears to be a timeout here, I believe.
It's the end of the quarter.
Aha. So the first quarter will come to an end here. Our score 7-0, Mills versus over Cap. However, the Mustangs knocking on the door. And Danny, it's been a real back and forth quarter so far. It looked like Mills had a lot of momentum, but Cap has come right back and they're in the red zone here looking to score.
They took that turnover on the interception and never really looked back. They had a little bit of a fit and start when they got the third down, which ended up become a first down on defensive holding, but they're doing a good job now.
Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit association that promotes and supports the growth of business in Millbrae. If you're interested in learning more about the Chamber, contact www.millbrae.com or call area code 650-697-7324 for more information. Thanks again to the Millbrae Chamber of Commerce. And there's another flag here, Danny. And the game being burdened by penalties here at the end of the first quarter and beginning of the second.
We're waiting to see. It looks like it was false start on Capuchino, so giving some of the yards back that they got on the previous penalty.
And you know that's not going to make Coach Horton happy. Mental mistakes down in the red zone.
Especially when they were closer, so it was more of a running situation, but now they're back to having to decide between the pass and the run.
And they are in a passing formation, the shotgun, although we've seen them run out of it plenty of times before. But Pellegrini back to pass here. And Rondell Dondoy, they call that position the bull because he's always charging into the backfield, and he gets the sack there. Dondoy bringing down Pellegrini.
And when you don't put anybody in the way of the bull, he's going to do something like that. He had nobody blocking him. He had plenty of he had no obstructions. Got a nice clean run, and Pellegrini had to get started, whereas Dondoy was already moving.
So now it'll be third and really long.
It's the unusual third and goal on the 20.
I'm not sure. So Pellegrini back to pass, and he's looking in the face of pressure, delivers it looking for Fafita or Arakat, whichever it was. It didn't reach its intended target.
Pellegrini had plenty of time there, but he didn't have anybody who was open, and so you have to have both of those things in order to convert a long third down. So there, he had the time and he had the ability to make the reads, but it didn't appear that there was anybody open.
Well, it's decision time here, Danny, and let's see what Coach Horton decides. Are they going to send in Vikings? It looks like Vikings is in there to kick.
This is going to be quite a difficult kick, considering.
This will be a 38-yard field goal.
But you're in a difficult situation here if you're Capuchino because it's such a long distance in order to get the first down that you're running a big risk either way.
So let's see if Vikings can put through this, and it's a fake. It's a fake, and Costa looking to run or looking to pass. He's not even sure. We're not even sure, but now he's running, and he's up to the 15-yard line, which will not be good enough for a first down, and Mills will take over on downs.
It's very challenging to convert a fake punt or a fake field goal from that distance because the defenders have enough space to realize and read and react to the situation. So there you saw Costa catch them off guard, but he caught them off guard and gained about 5, and that was clearly not enough in order to do it, so they turned the ball over on downs.
Perhaps a bold call there by Coach Horton, or perhaps the best call they could have done if the kicker didn't have leg for that 38-yarder.
It was a reasonable decision, though putting the ball in the hands of a guy who did not appear comfortable throwing the ball is somewhat of a risk, because in that situation you don't have that option in case somebody breaks open deep, which is your best chance of actually converting it and getting a touchdown.
So here come the Vikings now after Cap fails to score, and here's another flag. It looks like a delay of game call on the Vikings, and they'll move back 5 yards.
It's somewhat rare to see a delay of game after a turnover on downs, but that's exactly what happened there. So they have to move back another 5.
So 10:59 left in the second quarter, and it's now 1st and 15 for the Vikings. Adkins gives to Jeffrey. Jeffrey up the middle again for a short gain. Looks like he got about 2 yards, if that. It'll be still 2nd and long.
I'm not sure if they were trying to catch them off guard there, but that was there was not any space. Jeffrey does an excellent job when he has defenders that are relatively well contained and can run through lanes, and there were no lanes there.
And that's big Siona Moala. And Joel Avalos clogging up the middle there and holding Jeffrey to only 2 yards. Let's see what they do on 2nd down. Sved was on the wrong side of the field. No, he's on the right side. And it's a pass. Looking for Beglitsov. Incomplete. No flag on the play. It looked like there was a little bit of contact there, Danny, but the refs let it go.
There was a little bit of contact, but Beglitsov was looking for the ball on his opposite shoulder of where it ended up, and that was a difficult situation because he expected to come back to the ball, but the ball actually was thrown over his other shoulder. So it's one of those, it might have been a miscommunication, might have just been a proper communication, but just an imperfect throw.
So Danny, in the early going here, we've seen a lot of overthrows by quarterbacks on both sides. It's a rivalry game. Kids are pretty pumped up, don't you think?
Absolutely, and you also run into the challenge where these are difficult throws they're overthrowing. These aren't 2-yard outs. These are longer throws down the field. They're challenging. They're asking a lot of their quarterbacks, and so far they haven't done it all the way.
So 3rd and long for the Vikings, and it's a reverse. They reverse it to Beglitsov, and he's got plenty of room to go. He's got the 1st down and more. Now he's to the 40. Now he's to the 50. He's still going. And pushed out of bounds with a touchdown saving play by Tony Pellegrini as he got to Beglitsov and prevented 6 points there.
If you ever wanted to see a classic example of what misdirection means to an offense, you can look at that play. What looked like the original look by Mills was completely snuffed out by Capuchino. But by having Beglitsov there were only 2 defenders on that part of the field. One of them was cleanly blocked. The other one he got past. And when you only have one defender and you have a guy as talented as Beglitsov, you can see how much he can do with that. And it looked like he almost got to the score, could have gotten in the end zone, but the sideline is always another defender, and that made it harder for him to get more than he already got.
So he got to the 50, and here's another 1st down for the Vikings. Zapata in motion, and he's blocking for Jeffrey. Jeffrey gets past the line of scrimmage, and now he's got room to go. Now he's to the 30. Now he's to the 20. Still going to the 10, the 5. Touchdown. That's the 2nd touchdown for Antonio Jeffrey. Well, good thing we talked about him in our opener, huh? That was good on us.
It is good on us, and also we saw there what he can do when he has real estate in front of him. He's a better open space runner than he is between the tackles runner, and when you can do that, he's a home run hitter. And there they gave him plenty of space, and Cap did not have the men back, and they did not have the speed of their safeties to tackle him.
450 yards rushing in his past 2 games, over 1,000 yards last year, and well on his way to over 1,000 yards this year. Boy, Antonio Jeffrey sure can run the football.
And you cannot do that without a quality offensive line and good blocking from their wide receivers as well.
So here's Beglitsov on the kick. Sends it through, it's good, and with 9:39 left in the second quarter, the score is Vikings 14, Mustangs nothing.
When you think back to the last 5 minutes or so, it's a remarkable change of fortune. Right before the end of the first quarter, Capuchino had the ball at 1st and goal on about the 5-yard line. Then it got all the way back to the 20. They ended up having to fake the field goal, and then in, I believe it was 3 plays, Mills went and they scored a touchdown.
Frustrating reversal of fortune there for the Capuchino Mustangs. And now they got to come right back on the field and turn it around.
Fortunately, they have plenty of time. They have a home field crowd, and they have the talent to make it all the way back.
So Beglitsov, who never gets a break, now assigned to place-kicking duties. Back to receive, it's Costa and Campos.
It's interesting, actually. Beglitsov is such a big talent that they have to sit him sometimes on defense, even though he's a quality defender.
It'll be fielded by Campos. He's up to the 25, makes one man miss, but finally taken down by Rondell Dondoy. And Cap will start out on the 24-yard line.
Costa went for something different there. He tried to, instead of staying on his side, staying in his lane, he tried to break across and break through the coverage, but there were too many men there for Mills, and the Vikings took him down.
It's tough to take it all the way horizontally across the field, Danny. You know, Coach probably wanted him to run more vertically there.
One would have to think.
Only if it doesn't hurt. So here come the Mustangs. Pellegrini again back in that shotgun. Looks like the snap miscues have not dissuaded the Mustangs, and there's another one. So moving backwards on their first play, it's a loss of about 4, and now they'll be at the 21-yard line.
Managing a lot of plays out of the pistol and out of the shotgun is difficult for centers. Center is an underrated position, particularly in high school football, and we've seen the perils of that in this game.
The center, Enrique Grajeda. Let's see how he does on this next one.
Looks like they're putting more faith in him. They're keeping the quarterback deep.
Pellegrini back in the shotgun again. He's looking to Costa, and Costa unable to make the completion, and it will be 3rd and 14.
And we always try to apportion blame on a throw of whether it was an unsuccessful throw, about whether it was a mistake by the quarterback or it was a mistake by the running back. There it was a little bit of both. The throw wasn't perfect, so the running back, Costa, had to make a little bit of an adjustment, but it was an adjustment he should have made.
Got his hands on it, Danny, just could not secure the catch there.
He might have been looking at the defenders that were right in his face, and when you do that and you take your eyes off the ball for a second, it becomes substantially harder to catch, especially in this cold air.
So it'll be 3rd and long for the Mustangs. They'll come to the line with 4 wideouts. Ericat, Ortega, Costa, and Rodriguez. And Pellegrini on a bootleg, looking for Costa, he's open! Just a little bit underthrown, the defense there by Christian Miranda and Jaime Alfaro. And Costa was open on that play, but they couldn't make the completion.
He certainly was open, but Pellegrini put, it seemed like, almost everything he had into that throw. He'd gotten open too far down the field, and by throwing it, he put everything he had into it. The defenders had enough time to get there and knock the ball down.
And really a good play by Costa there to make sure that neither Alfaro nor Miranda were able to intercept that one.
Capuchino can't afford another turnover, so an incompletion is substantially better than an interception, even on 3rd down.
So this time on 4th down, the Mustangs will punt. Jaime Vaquiz in there to do the kicking. Back to receive, it's Joshua Sved. And a kick to about the 45, where it bounces out of bounds. There will be no return by Sved.
And it looked like the blocking there was actually reasonably good by Mills, but they didn't have a chance to return it because the ball bounced out of bounds before anybody would have had a chance to field it.
So 8:23 left in the second quarter here, as it's the battle of the strip. Capuchino Mustangs hosting the Mills Vikings. Mills currently up 14-0, Danny. And Mills will come back on offense here, looking to add to that lead.
This could be the biggest possession of the game so far, because if Mills can get points, especially a touchdown here, it'll make it substantially harder for Capuchino to come back, whether it be getting some points here or having to get it all in the second half.
But remember, Cap gets the ball to start out halftime as they deferred, and Mills took the ball in the first half. It's a give up the middle to Antonio Jeffrey, and he goes nowhere. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 45-yard line.
That was another example of why you need a quality nose tackle and you need quality interior defensive lineman, because Jeffrey, he looked like he was looking around for a space, but there was nothing there, so he had to run into traffic. He ran into traffic and then ran into the ground.
And you know what's really tough, Danny? You get through all those big linemen, and then you got big number 54, Royal LA, staring at you in the face.
The division linebacker of the year last year.
2nd down. Adkins on the keeper, takes up the middle. He's brought down by Siona Mo'ala.
And when you see a play like that, you have to think about the respect that Jeffrey has by this defense, having already scored 2 touchdowns. The defense was keying on him, and that allowed Adkins a little bit of hesitation. That little bit of hesitation got them about 7 yards.
Well, here comes a big third down play. Mustangs need to make a stop here.
One interesting thing to watch here is if they do a pass, that might be indicating, if it is unsuccessful, that they might be willing to go for it on 4th down to try to take control of this game in the first half.
Let's see what they do. Zapata to the bottom of your screen. 3 wide receivers to the top, and early movement. Let's see who moved first.
It looked like everybody moved, so the question is who initiated everything. It could very well be either team.
And it'll be against the Mustangs, Danny, and that will give Mills a first down on that crucial 3rd down. Gosh, another unfortunate mental mistake by the Mustangs.
It's heartbreaking for Capuchino because they got what they were looking for. They got a 3rd down and 3. 3 is, it's on the short side, but it's still a challenging thing, and now they get a first down for free.
So Mills will come to the line with a little more energy now. Snap to Adkins, and he's passing, looking for Beglitzoff. Beglitzoff, and it is intercepted! Intercepted by Tony Pellegrini. He returns the favor. Gave one away, but took it right back. Great defense on the play by Tony Pellegrini.
Great defense, and we talked about how Beglitzoff is actually a quality defender himself, but he couldn't prevent the catch by the opposing quarterback on defense. A remarkable series that you only see in high school football.
So Pellegrini with the huge play there, and what a shift of momentum, and just when things were looking down for the Mustangs, what an incredible, awesome play.
We talked about how that was one of the most important possessions of the game so far, and while Capuchino had the deflation of the offsides penalty, they got it all back and more on the interception.
So let's see what the Mustangs can do with that momentum. It'll be first down for them on their own 18-yard line. They're back in the flex bone, and they give it to Costa. Costa running behind Royal LA, always a good thing to do. But there was a horde of Vikings. Ryan Del Rosario on the tackle, as well as the bull, Rondell Dondoy.
And it was another example of Mills reacting to the play in enough time, even though it didn't look like they had it snuffed out perfectly. They got it quickly enough that it was a minimal gain.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Mustangs. Pellegrini back in the shotgun with Costa and Ericat towards the bottom of your screen. It's a gift to Fafita, and he goes nowhere as he was met right at the line of scrimmage by Amin Alazay. That was a mean tackle by Amin Alazay right there.
And there you see the challenge for an offense. That play looks like it surprised Mills, but it also surprised the offense for Capuchino.
So we'll have a timeout here. Timeout called by the Mustangs. And perhaps maybe we'll take another look at the lineups we haven't looked at so far.
And this is a big play for Capuchino because it's so deep in their own territory that it seems difficult to imagine that they would go for it on 4th down. And so if they have to punt, then that's a very dangerous proposition.
So here's that Mustangs offense facing that long 3rd down. It's Siona Mo'ala and Royal Ale. We've talked about him plenty. Enrique Grajeda is the center. Latili Halafihi is the right guard. And David Balderas is the right tackle. Then in the backfield, they have Khalid Ericat as well as Juan Rodriguez. David Ortega is the tight end. Then the quarterback, we've said his name plenty already, Tony Pellegrini. Also Chris Costa and George Fafita.
And here we go, pivotal play.
So let's see what the Mustangs came up with on that timeout. Pellegrini back now to throw. Looking. Evades one man, evades Alfaro. And now he'll keep it. And now he'll run it. And he's up to the 30-yard line. And Danny, that looks real close to a first down. And maybe they will think about going for it if they didn't make it here.
It did, and it seemed, considering how wild that play was, that he acted more like a punt returner than a quarterback. It was kind of a broken play, but he had a lot of space because of how far the receivers had gone down the field. They're ruling it a first down for the Capuchino Mustangs.
So what a huge play there. After making the huge play on defense, Pellegrini comes back and makes a huge play on offense and delivers a first down to his team. And now they'll give it to Fifita right up the middle where he's met by Amin Alizé as well as Jefta Zapata. And he'll gain about 2. It'll be 2nd and 8.
And with a shade over 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, Capuchino has plenty of time to make a run, but they don't have enough time to probably get much if they have to get the ball back. So it's now or never as far as the first half goes.
So on 2nd and 8, a mix-up in the backfield here as Pellegrini, also coaching on the field, tells Fifita where to line up. They'll come out with 4 wide receivers to the right side, but they'll run it to the left side. And Mills, not fooled, quickly snuffed that one out. It was, again, Amin Alizé, who's been making some plays so far on defense.
We can see the difference there between a designed quarterback run and a kind of impromptu quarterback run. On a designed run, they don't have as many options because they can't throw the ball. And so there, the defense didn't have to respect any sort of passing options, so they were all up in the box, and they made a quick read and made the stop.
So here's another 3rd down. And let's see if the Mustangs can convert. Clock ticking down. It's 3:54 left in the second quarter. Again, 5 wideouts here. There's no one else in the backfield besides Pellegrini. And the Vikings are coming for him. And he just gets rid of the ball. It looks like, yep, that will be an intentional grounding penalty assessed against the Mustangs.
And you have to understand why Pellegrini threw the ball, because he was about to get crushed, but there was nobody in the vicinity and the ball didn't get to the line of scrimmage, so that's an intentional grounding penalty, and that means it's 4th down, a ways back, so it doesn't look like they can go for it on 4th down here.
Indeed, Jaime Vikings will come in to kick the punt here. And the Mustang offense, again, gosh, Danny, it seems like 1 step forward, 2 steps back for the Mustangs.
1 step forward, 2 steps back, and actually, given the turnovers, it might be more than 2 steps back considering what the scoreboard says right now.
Clock at 3:40. It's 4th and almost 30. It's 4th and 29.
Yeah. I believe it's 4th and 22, but when you see a situation like this, you
No,
can't.
Danny, the first down is on the 40-yard line.
Oh, you are
The
correct.
line of scrimmage is the 11-yard line.
You are completely correct. You can't fake it here.
And they do not. It is a punt. Retrieved by Sved with room to run. Sved gets it to the 40-yard line. Now he's to the 30. Now he's to the 20. And tackled by the punter, Vikings. And Vikings gets in the face of Sved. A little bit of the rivalry, the passions, and there's going to be a flag as Vikings came up real pumped up from having made that tackle, and I think he took it a little too far, Danny.
And Coach Krieger has said before that Josh Sved is the toughest pound-for-pound guy on his team, so that might not be the perfect guy to get in the face of, even if his stature is a little bit smaller than you'd expect.
We'll have to see what the damages are after that penalty. But it's probably going to put Mills in 1st and goal, knocking on the door. It's a personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct.
And now that, in some ways, that makes it a different challenge for Mills, because there's enough time on the clock in 3:25 that if they theoretically score quickly, Capuchino will have enough time to make a real run at it if they want to. Well, more accurately, if they can, they'll definitely want to.
So it will be 1st and goal from about the 7-yard line. And Mills looking to do some real damage and put Cap in a big hole before halftime right here.
Look for Antonio Jeffrey.
And they give it to Jeffrey. Good call, partner. He runs up the right side, running behind Lawrence Wong, the right tackle. And he'll gain 1 yard, perhaps. It'll be second and about 6.
And while a touchdown is clearly the goal on every single touch, getting stopped there isn't the worst thing in the world because it takes away some of the options for Capuchino in terms of getting a return score.
Clock continuing to run. We're under 3 minutes now in the second quarter. Adkins in the backfield with Jeffrey and Sved. Here comes Beglitzoff in motion. They fake to Beglitzoff, they give it to Jeffrey, but he is met by a wall. That's big George Fifita, as well as Sergeant Matthew quickly filling up that hole and giving Jeffrey nowhere to go.
Mills tried to do something a little bit tricky there, but Capuchino saw it coming, and the Mustangs didn't even give them a chance to get back to the line of scrimmage.
So it'll be 3rd and goal now for the Vikings, and a big play here, big play for Cap to try to hold him from a touchdown, hopefully hold him just a field goal. It'll be 4 wide receivers for the Vikings. Here's Atkins with the play action, and he evades one man, but taken down by Fifita and Sergeant Matthew. The same duo who made the play on the second down makes the play on the 3rd down, and it'll be 4th and goal for the Vikings. Decision time for Coach Krieger.
And throughout the game, we've seen those two do an excellent job of reacting to what goes in front of them and not buying as much of the distractions, though, on certain plays like the Beglitzoff run that has fooled them even then. So we'll see. No field goal in a game like this is guaranteed with a little bit of wind and being a respectable distance and being off the hash. So it'll be a challenge to see what they're going to do here.
Mills taking some time to think about it in their huddle. They need more time to think about it. It'll be a timeout called by the Vikings.
Or they may have been taking advantage of the fact that they wanted the clock to run down as far as possible, and so they talked about it a little bit, and now they'll use the advantage of a timeout to go further into it. So now we're sitting in a very interesting situation for Mills because they have 4th down and about 11, so 4th and goal at the 11, and they'll have to figure out whether they want to kick the field goal or whether they want to go for the touchdown. And they could even go for the touchdown by faking it when you have a guy like Beglitzoff as your kicker. It looks like the Capuchino defense is coming out, but we haven't yet seen what Mills is going to do on offense, so there'll have to be some reactions there.
Well, when your defense is led by such a smart, because he's headed to Sanford, such a smart, talented floor general like Royal LA, I think they can make the adjustments pretty well, don't you?
Matthew's no slouch either. I believe I heard he's going to Berkeley, so congratulations to both of them.
Wait. One Mustang's going to Stanford and one Mustang's going to Berkeley? Now that's a recipe for trouble if I ever heard one. But for now, they're on the same team. And it looks like Mills has decided to take the conservative route and kick the field goal, although there's always the potential for a fake, of course. But it is a kick, and it is up and good. So Beglitzoff putting points on the board without need for touchdown catches. And the score is now 17-0 Mills with 1 minute and 6 seconds left in the first half.
And number 42, Ibrahim Abugoush, did a good job getting really, really close to blocking the field goal, but just not enough to get a hand on it and stop it from going through the uprights.
Well, 1 minute left here, Danny, for Cap to put some points on the board, but a huge victory for Cap, holding Mills to a field goal there and not allowing them to score another touchdown. That's got to pump up the Mustangs.
It has to, because they were put in such a rough situation. They had the possession started with 1st and goal in their own 7 after the quality punt return and the penalty on Capuchino. So to go from 1st and goal at the 7 when your defense has had trouble to basically stop them on 3 consecutive plays and then get a field goal, that's a big victory at this point.
Huge defensive possession for the Mustangs, and they looked good there. So now they'll get their chance with 1 minute left It'll be Campos and Costa to receive. The jack of all trades, do everything man, Victor Beglitsov to kick.
And we'll have to see if they do more of like a pooch kick to give them a chance to actually return this.
And it is a pooch kick, a squib kick, fielded by Austin Kaiser Hall. And Kaiser Hall gets to about the 38-yard line. Kind of a trade-off there, Danny. They kicked it short, which resulted in good field position for Cap, but they didn't let the ball get in the hands of their great playmakers Costa and Campos.
You take away a lot of the big downside risk, and when you're sitting there and you're facing an offense that hasn't generated any points yet, though they have generated yardage, that seems like a calculated risk worth taking at this point.
So there's precisely 1 minute left on the game clock in the first half. 1 minute for Cap to get some points on the board here heading into halftime. Pellegrini with a give to Costa. Costa running behind Halafihi, and Fafita able to gain about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7, and the clock continues to tick, 45 seconds left.
It's somewhat surprising considering how Capuchino has done some ambitious passes down the field that they're not going to take a chance, considering it's other than an interception with a big return, the risk is relatively low in a situation like this.
33 seconds left. Here's the snap to Pellegrini, and Pellegrini now back to pass, and he guns it down the field. And plenty of contact there as Arakat was defended by Sved. The Mills sideline imploring for an offensive pass interference penalty, but the ref declined to give one.
And in a situation like that where the pass is underthrown and the receiver has to come back to the ball, he acted more like the defensive back than the defensive back himself. And so that was a situation where you could have seen offensive pass interference that looks more like defensive pass interference.
But the one good thing about that incompletion is it stops the clock. So now 24 seconds left, and the clock is not ticking. Cap can huddle up and really think about this next play.
And I fully expect to see them go down the field again, because whether it be a penalty or whether it be a excessive gain, that's going to be how they get a chance to get some points on the board and feel a little bit of pride going into the locker room.
So Pellegrini back to pass, a quick throw to Rodriguez. Rodriguez quickly touched down. The clock is ticking, or it is not ticking, perhaps because they call this a first down. No, looks like the ref signaling for the clock to run, but it's not. Oh, they did move the chains. So the clock stops, and now it will continue. Pellegrini to throw. Beglitsov unable to bring down Pellegrini. Now he guns it. It is caught by David Ortega at the 30-yard line. And that'll be another first down. And Ortega signaling, that's Costa signaling for the timeout.
And you can see the quarterback running. He had a little bit of space to get the throw off, threw a nice throw downfield, and it was caught.
What an excellent evasion of the pressure there brought by Beglitsov, who's no slouch. Excellent evasion of the pressure there by Pellegrini, and he delivered it, and an excellent catch by Ortega when he was heavily defended.
We saw in a play there exactly why, when you're in a situation where you don't have much time left and you're in your own territory, why you go for it in a situation where you're down 17. Because if you get here, best case scenario, you either get a touchdown, you can get a pass interference, get another play, get another chance at going to the end zone, getting some points. Even if you got a pass interference, possibly getting a field goal.
So now there's 3 seconds left on the clock. It's now or never, time for a heave to the end zone. It's unlikely that they'll kick a 47-yard field goal with the keys.
But remember that a defensive penalty means that you get an untimed down. So this is the last play of the half, unless there's a defensive penalty, which is certainly a possibility considering we already saw a big big defensive holding earlier in the game.
Well, we've already seen that 5 wide receiver formation from the Mustangs before, and they're in it again. Pellegrini back, and no one's back there. Look for Mills to bring some aggressive pressure from the Bull, but now there appears to be a timeout. Timeout on the field called by the Vikings.
Mills there, since they had a timeout remaining, you might as well see what your opponent's going to line up in and develop a way of defending it. I would be surprised if their big wide receiver Victor Beglesov did not play a large role on a play like this, because he knows how to go up and catch it.
So now the question is, having shown that 5 wide receiver formation to the Vikings, and the Vikings having taken a timeout to respond to it, will Cap come out in the same formation again, or will they mix it up?
I believe they'll have the same personnel in the field, though they may have them in a different alignment. It looks like they may have three. They might have 3 guys on the left side where they previously had 4. But you in a situation like this, you have direct incentives to get a lot of guys down the field and spread them out, because that's your best chance of making a mistake and getting a catch and maybe even getting a touchdown.
Well, right now they've got 4 receivers out there. It's Costa, Rodriguez, Ortega, and Ericat towards the bottom of your screen. And it appears that Halafi'i is lined up as a tight end, so only a 4 wide receiver formation. They did change it, Danny.
They did.
So here's Pellegrini on the last play of the half. It's a Hail Mary pass, and well defended there by Marquise Adkins, returning the favor after Pellegrini intercepted him earlier in this quarter. And that will be the conclusion of the first half in the Battle of the Strip. It's Mills 17, Capuchino nothing.
There are a lot of different stories in a first half like that. I think you have to talk about how well Mills' offense executed at various points. Jeffrey did a nice job, Sved had a quality kick return, and Beglesov had that gigantic reverse. At the same time, Capuchino did do a good job at various points getting yardage both by penalties and by pass yardage, so they have to feel at least somewhat encouraged that they can move the ball on this team, and moving the ball can turn into points when you start out with the ball in the beginning of the second half.
That's right, Cap will start out with the ball. When we come back at the beginning of the second half, look for them to make some halftime adjustments and come out with a little bit of momentum, having stopped the Vikings.
Thank you again for all your time, all your dedication, and your giving to the countdown, and for putting out your Thank you again.
Welcome back to the beginning of the second half here, the Battle of the Strip in San Bruno, California.
That would be awesome.
It'll be Capuchino receiving the ball with our score, Mills Vikings 17, Capuchino Mustangs nothing. And it'll be Costa and Campos back to receive. Sorry about that, Danny. What were you going to say?
This was going to be a crucial possession for the Mustangs because with a 17-0 deficit, that can be overcome, but it has to be overcome starting with some quick points. And with the way that their offense has gone, they have generated the yardage to do that.
Here's another squib kick by Beglitzoff, and not fielded, almost a turnover, but now Campos running backwards, and that's probably not the best direction to go. And there's a flag, and it's probably a block in the back. And this one's probably coming back, Danny.
One of the challenges when you have a return that moves a long way laterally is that the offensive or the return players have a lot of opportunities to make those holds and blocks in the back. And that looks like what we saw right there.
And that is the call from our referee, a block in the back. So this crucial Mustangs possession is going to have to go a little bit farther after that penalty.
And it was a surprisingly challenging situation because the ball bounced over the first potential returner's head, and so because that's a live ball. Once it goes past 10 yards, that's a live ball. So they have to either fall on it or get on it. And the reaction was to run backwards, which didn't work out perfectly.
There was a clear danger there with the Vikings bearing down on Costa. He had to secure possession of that football. So here come the Mustangs on first down from their own 5-yard line. Sorry, it's from their 6, and they'll give it to Ortega, and Ortega around the left side, and now he's got a first down, and he's still going. He's still 40-yard line, down to the 50. Can anybody catch him? Atkins trying to bear down on Ortega. He can't. It's a touchdown. Mustangs. David Ortega. It's a 93-yard carry that brings him all the way down the field and into the end zone. No one could bring him down.
We talked about how this was a margin that could be overcome by Capuchino. You want to do that? You do that with a 93-yard touchdown run on the first play from scrimmage. Remarkable stuff.
I'd call that a good start on overcoming that 17-point deficit. I'd call it a very good start.
We talked in the first half about how Antonio Jeffrey was a home run hitter. Well, on that play, Ortega was a home run hitter. Nobody caught him. Atkins got close, but he made it all the way.
Well, Ortega, having only rushed for 9 yards prior to that rush, has immediately upped his total to 102 yards. Well, looks like he's having a pretty good game.
Hey.
That
raised his yards per carry pretty significantly.
Yes, sir. And there's a hold-up here, as I believe we're waiting for a lineman to come in. That's Anthony Vasquez hustling in from the sideline. And all the excitement, sometimes the players forget to go out in the field.
And you've got to feel a little bit for the people who thought that the first part of the half was going to be a little bit of time to get back to their seats because that got started real quickly.
That's right, Danny. Good eyes. There's a massive line over the snack bar. So this kick is up and good by Vaquez, and our new score, with still 11 minutes and 32 seconds left in the third quarter, is Mills 17, Capuchino 7. And now it's only a 10-point deficit.
And one thing to notice, it looks like Enrique Grajeda is having a little bit of trouble maybe with his midsection, so we'll have to see if that's something that manifests itself in the rest of the game.
That's right, he's holding that left arm, Danny. But I believe he does snap with his right arm. We'll have to see if they take him out. Capuchino does so much shotgun and pistol formation that center quarterback connection is essential.
And we've seen how difficult it is to make that connection, and so we don't know if they have to go to their backup, whether that backup will be sufficiently versed in how to do all of those things in order to prevent turnovers.
So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But first, we'll have our eyes on the Mills offense, which, after stalling towards the end of the half, now has to come back and answer after that quick touchdown strike by the Mustangs. So here's Sved to return, and he's got a wedge to run behind. But he is leveled at the 27-yard line by several Mustangs, including Nicholas Reese.
Reese did an excellent job there standing him up. That's what you want to do in a situation like that where a player has space to run. You want to catch them, you want to hold them, and you want to make sure that you have control of them long enough to make sure that if you need help, the help can come.
These November nights can get cold, Danny. It's always nice to have someone to hold. Now, here's Mills on first down. Beglitzoff in motion. Will they look to Beglitzoff? The same play they started out the first half is the same play they start their first possession of the second half, and it's good for a gain of 7 yards. It'll be 2nd and 3 from the 35-yard line.
As you said, that echoed the first play of the first half, and it got quality yardage again. You create space for Beglitzoff. He got the pass pretty close to the line of scrimmage, but then got yards after the catch. So now we can see last time Mills went no huddle after the first play. This time they're huddling now, so we'll have to see what they do here.
2nd and 3 from the 35-yard line. Adkins in the backfield with Jeffrey. We haven't called his name in a while. And they hand it to Jeffrey. Jeffrey off tackle up the right side. And it looked like Gabe Sanchez, the left guard, with a vicious, mean block, driving the Capuchino Mustang defender well past 10 yards past the line of scrimmage.
I believe that was Matthew, so one of their defensive leaders, they're trying to make a statement maybe at the beginning of the second half.
Close to too much excessiveness on the part of Sanchez there, but he avoids a penalty, and it'll be first down for the Vikings, who will now return to the huddle. Interesting, Danny, I think maybe they're not quite sure whether they want to do the no huddle or want to try to milk the clock here and huddle up on every down.
And we'll have to see whether Jeffrey can get room to roam again, because we've seen that he can be a home run hitter when he gets some distance downfield, but when he's running into blockers, he's not as good of a runner.
Well, talking about running into people, Adkins on the carry had nowhere to go as he ran into both Fafitas, Punky and George on the tackle there. And now it'll be 2nd down and 10 as Adkins gained no yards.
One of the stories of the second half, and we've already seen it a little bit, is going to be whether the first player to make contact with the ball carrier can make the tackle. On a couple of plays so far, we've already seen that, and if that continues to be the case, then for whichever team is on defense, that will be a huge development, because there were a lot of broken tackles in the first half.
Now Mills on 2nd down with Cap showing blitz, but they handle the pressure, and it's a delivery to Sved, but a tough hit, a mean hit, a big hit by David Ortega as he says, no, you shall not pass.
That was a tough situation for the defender, because if he does not make the tackle, Sved, a quality kick returner as we've already seen, could have made some major damage there, possibly even gotten a touchdown. It was a one-on-one situation, and he made a beautiful tackle.
A beautiful tackle. You'll love seeing that, Danny. Perfect form. He got square, he got low, hit and wrap, and drove his man back. So it'll be 3rd down now for the Vikings. Mustangs looking to get the Mills off the field. Adkins back to pass. It's a delivery to Sved. Sved with a stiff arm, and it'll be good for a first down as he stiff-armed Ibrahim Abugosh for just enough space to get the conversion there.
And we've seen this be the Mills' MO for much of the game on passing, is that they make a pass that doesn't go very far, but then they allow their receiver to get yards after the catch. And when you have guys like Sved, and they can do that, and so they got a first down despite completing the pass short of the first down marker.
And you talk about Sved, and you talk about how much Coach Krieger has faith in Sved's toughness. Sved was the recipient of a harsh tackle on the previous play. He went right back to him, gave him the ball again, and he rewarded his coach with a first down.
And he fought through the tackle this time and got a little more yardage, even though he already had the first down.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Vikings from the Capuchino 45-yard line. Adkins back to pass, looking for Beglitzoff. Almost intercepted by Lawan Becerra, and he is kicking himself as he had a juicy opportunity for the pick there.
If dangerous throw was a concept that could be in a dictionary, the picture of it would be that throw right there. It was very, very little space for the offense to get it, and lots of opportunities for two different defenders to get the pick.
I guess broadcasters aren't the only ones that can become overly enamored with Viktor Beglitsov. Atkins probably shouldn't have thrown that one there, but it's so hard to resist throwing it to big number 12.
And we saw there what the challenge is, though. He's better at catching and running, and there he wasn't going to get a run after the catch anyway, but he is a big enough guy that he can be a possession receiver if need be.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Vikings, again from the 45-yard line of Cap. And another pass to Jephta Zapata. He was wide open, Danny, but that pass just a bit out of his reach, and it'll be 3rd and 10.
And with no defenders there, he would have been really close to the first down line if he had been able to stay on his feet, but the throw wasn't to him, and so he had to jump, and even after jumping, he still didn't have enough to get it.
So Mills trying to get that passing game in rhythm, but nothing but incompletions here. Let's see if they can complete on 3rd down.
And they have a different kind of pressure now because now they know that their opponent can score on them. So they have a little bit more onus to get yards here.
And it's a play action. Nowhere for Atkins to go as he is swallowed up. It is Sione Moala on the sack. Joined there by Joel Avalos, but Sione was all over Atkins on that play, shutting that play down.
And Moala, who plays left tackle for Capuchino, there makes the defensive play and makes it so that there isn't a chance for Mills to really go for the first down or even have a chance of going forward on 4th.
He's their left tackle on offense, their defensive end on defense. But he won't be returning this punt. Instead, those duties will fall to Gabriel Campos. Beglitsov back to punt for the Vikings. It's a high floating snap, but fielded by Beglitsov. He'll kick it, and it's out of bounds around the 23. Beg your pardon, that's the 26. And Capuchino will take over there.
And considering the Mustangs' last possession started inside their own 10 and they got a touchdown early on, they had got to feel confident here.
I think it was a touchdown on the very first play of that possession, was it not?
I believe you're right. After the wild kickoff return.
So here comes that Mustang offense after their quick strike touchdown on their last possession, looking to eat away more at that 10-point deficit. There's 6:52 left in the 3rd quarter at 17-7 Mills. And here's Cap. They give it to Ortega, give it right back to him after that huge run, and he gains about 4 yards. It'll be 2nd and 6.
He didn't get quite the real estate that he had on the first one, but he still did a good job getting through a couple tackles there.
And now he's just bringing down that yards per carry average.
Bringing it down, but he's bringing it up from where it was before that big play. So you've got to have some respect there. And there he did a good job maximizing what was in front of him.
So it'll be 2nd down here from the 28. Atkins with the give to Fifita, and Fifita muscling his way up the middle. He's got a first down. What a nice carry by the big fullback.
That's another way to get 8 yards. Sometimes you get 8 yards by getting a little bit of space and running through it. Sometimes you get 8 yards by running through some people.
Sometimes you make your own space if you're a running back, and that's what big George Fifita did on that one.
And it was one of the benefits there is the line got a little bit of a push, and that allowed him to get some momentum going downstream. And so he was able to do that, use his frame, and push forward for an extra couple yards.
By the way, Danny, we were wondering about it, but Grajeda is back in at center. And you saw that last snap was good, and so was that one. Pellegrini back to pass now. Good blocking, but he's pursued and needs to get rid of it. Throws, and it's complete almost to Rodriguez. He had Juan Rodriguez open at the 42-yard line of Mills, but good defense at the very last moment by Josh Sved. able to break up that pass. Otherwise, that was going to be a completion for a first down.
That play went from a potential of a terrible failure to a beautiful success, and then it just couldn't get the catch there. It looked like it was a quality throw, though.
From Cap's perspective, though, you have to be feeling good after that, not getting an intentional grounding, not getting a sack, when Pellegrini was all the way back at his own 15-yard line.
There were 3 Mills Vikings very close to him, so that looked like the outcome there, but he got the ball off and got it where the guy should have caught it.
So they'll give it back to Ortega. This time, he is met behind the line of scrimmage by Beglitzoff. And Amin Alazay there kind of getting in the face of the Capuchino Mustang offensive lineman. Boy, Danny, I'll tell you, emotions are running high in this rivalry game.
They're running high, and you also want to set a tone, especially when the first play of a half is so different from the previous half. And so Capuchino might have been puffing their chest a little bit, and Mills wants to say, hey, we're still the big dogs in this fight.
So it'll be 3rd down and 13. And probably the Mustangs looking to pass here. Khalid Erakats, the receiver, wide out to the bottom of your screen. Beglitzoff in the backfield looking for Pellegrini, but he can't get him. Now Pellegrini evades Ryan Del Rosario and gets a decent gain. It will not be enough for the first down, but they take it from a 3rd and 13 to a 4th and 8, so a gain of 5 yards on that play.
Pellegrini did a quality job there, making something out of absolutely nothing. It didn't look like there were receivers in the area. It was just a pretty dead-to-right situation, and he got 5 yards out of it. So you got to be, while you're disappointed with the aggregate outcome, you have to be happy with what he did there out of the situation.
And look at this, Danny, on their side of the 50-yard line, but it looks like Cap wants to push forward and capitalize on the momentum they've got. They're going to go for it here on 4th and long.
And with a team that has their punter kicker more as a specialist, so he's not on the field for regular plays, it's a lot easier to determine what they're going for, because you can't really do misdirection if you don't have a punter on the field.
Thank you for removing the curtain behind my technique. I did fail to see the keys coming out on the field, Danny. But it'll be a timeout now for the Mustangs.
So maybe they'll decide to do something different, either use a
Perhaps
distraction.
they're rethinking their decision to go for it on 4th and long on their own 42-yard line.
And when you're down 2 scores, and when one of those scores can be a field goal, there is not a sense of urgency that they need to score immediately. So the risk of not getting it here and giving Mills the ball with less than 50 yards to get a touchdown, and with a field goal meaning so much because it's a 10-point game, it wouldn't be surprising at all to see them think about it and then punt.
I'd have to agree, Danny, on their side of the 50, with only 10-point deficit and 4:29 left in the 3rd quarter. There's no need to force the issue here. Probably you got to think Coach Horton's going to send his kicker out there, although sure looks like it's the offense going out again. And with no urgency to score right now, you do have to wonder whether this is the right decision, Danny.
Well, I do see Mr. 72 on the field, so we might have a possibility of a punt, but you never know. Yeah, I see Vikings out there, but it looks like he's not out there potentially as a punter.
No, they have him lined up as the right guard, which is normally Litili Halafihi's position. So I wonder if perhaps he was injured. In any event, Pellegrini stepping up in the pocket, but there's tremendous pressure, and he's going to go down. Well, not go down, but this play will be whistled dead. And that will be a disappointing turnover on downs for the Cap Mustangs. And kind of a mystery, Danny. I really feel like at this point in the game, playing the field position game might have been a better choice.
It appears to be a challenging decision to defend, because it's a very difficult proposition to get that many yards on a 4th down, and when the consequences of punting are not that severe. As long as you have some faith in your defense, and Mills hasn't scored yet in this half, so you got to have at least a little bit of faith in them.
Head coach for the Capuchino Mustangs, Josh Horton, in his first year as the Capuchino head varsity coach, played football at the Naval Academy, in fact, and is a member of the Emerald Bowl Championship team. He's worked in the NFL, the CFL, and the Arena Football League as well, including the Carolina Panthers, the Chargers, the Browns, the Seahawks. But perhaps in all those stops, no one ever told him not to go for it on 4th and 8 on your own side of the 50.
And we can already see early on with Atkins taking the run that they're not in field goal range yet, because while Begelsof's a good kicker, you're not going to kick it from this far out, but they're close to being able to make some damage on the scoreboard. And that's a dangerous proposition when a team is already up 10 on you.
So once again, the pressure is really on that Mustangs defense, led by their incredible linebacker, Royal Allay, to put the hurt on this Vikings drive and not allow them to take advantage of that turnover on downs.
Allay and Matthew have done a very good job in this game of reacting and making the smart plays, and they're gonna have more pressure on them now than they've had all game, because a touchdown here would be disastrous considering how successful Capuchino was.
Cap showing blitz. Punky Fafita coming on the outside for the blitz, but it's a give to Jeffrey, to Sved, right up the middle, all the way into the end zone, and a huge touchdown as Mills ran the draw as Cap was bringing pressure. It was a perfect equation for Mills, and Sved goes all the way up the field, 35 yards for a touchdown, and that was a big play for the Vikings.
Part of the beauty of football is that every attack has a counterattack, and so when you have pressure there, if you can go to where the pressure leads to a weak point, you can get a seam. And when you have a guy like Sved, who's a kick returner, who knows what to do when he has space, it's like a kick return where you only have one defender to juke, and so he got a pretty easy touchdown once they executed the first part of the play. And here's Begelsoff with the kick. And it looks good. So now we go, it's going to be 24-7 for Mills, with 3:25 remaining in the third quarter. So still plenty of time for Capuchino to make a comeback and to really make this a game and pull it out. But they're going to have to execute now. They have a lot more pressure.
Well, the gamble by the Capuchino Mustangs to go for it on 4th and 8 on their own side of the 50 does not pay off, and now, with 3:25 left, a rather large 17-point deficit to overcome for the Mustangs.
Rather large, but let's repeat, when you have a 93-yard touchdown in your back pocket, you can do that sometimes. And Ortega had that nice run. They've had a couple of quality passes too, and they have some kick return weapons as well.
Speaking of Ortega, you can see he's in that second level there, and the Vikings have been trying that little squib kick, which really only gets to about the second level. Let's see if Ortega perhaps has been placed there by the coaching staff to make a play on that type of kick.
And don't be surprised if Mills sees that and kicks it to their right as opposed to kicking it to Ortega.
That's Ibrahim Abugosh on the right side, and he declines to field this. It's fielded by Campos. Campos to the 20, but now running backwards again and taken down behind the 20-yard line. Let's see where they give him forward progress. Looks like they will give forward progress to the 20, and that's where the Mustangs will take over.
And with the amount of pressure that Mills put on that kick, Campos, his instincts were, when he breaks a tackle, which he's done a couple times, to move more laterally than vertically. And when you do that, you actually create more space for the defenders to come into it. So you're actually sometimes taking away some of the potential yardage that you could get on a kick return.
So staring down an 80-yard field here is Pellegrini, as he, again, in an empty backfield with 5 wideouts. That's Arakat alone on the bottom of your screen. Fafita and others on the right side. And now Pellegrini on the design carry gets it past the 30-yard line all the way to the 34. And he ran behind all those wide receivers. I guess they can block too.
Yeah, it becomes sort of a strong side. I mean, usually you think of that in terms of tight ends, but if you have 4 wide receivers out there in front and right where you're running, that works pretty much the same way.
There is a flag on the field, Danny. Let's see what it is. And it's holding against the Mustangs, so that run, which would have resulted in a first down, gets wiped off the board, and they're going to have to try again.
And while we didn't hear a number of a play called, it makes a player called for the holding. It makes sense that when you have 4 wide receivers on a side, they're less familiar with blocking, that can lead to holding penalties and things of that sort.
So now it'll be first and about 15 from the 15-yard line. And once again, Cap with a step forward, but 2 steps back. Let's see if they can overcome. it'll be again the empty backfield for Pellegrini. Ericat on one side, and they're looking for Ericat. He's open, but incomplete as he was defended by Sved, who neither Sved nor Ericat really had the potential to catch that pass. It was just overthrown.
That looked more like an outfielder trying to make a catch on a ball in the dark than it looked like a wide receiver because it was thrown so high and so deep. That was 35 yards in the air from the line of scrimmage, and he was behind the line of scrimmage when he threw it.
So there will be a timeout now as we have a Mills player down. I can't see who it is from this angle.
We're hoping it's cramps because that looks like what they're stretching out, because it'd be better than any other more serious injury, of course.
So we got a 2nd and long here, Danny, on this answer drive, or opportunity for an answer drive by the Mustangs after Mills scored that touchdown on the last possession. What do you think they're going to come up with here?
I'd like to see them go back to a 4 or 5 wide receiver set, but instead of going to a quarterback run in that set, going to a short pass, and then you can use your wide receivers more effectively as blockers once the pass is complete. And an opportunity like that would maybe give one of their receivers, whichever one they feel most comfortable with, a shot to run with more defenders spread out as opposed to having them more concentrated in the center of the field. While running more through the center of the field worked on the Ortega run, that's really been the only time that you could classify anything that they've done more to the center field as an unqualified success.
If it were up to me, I say I'm running right behind big number 54, Royal LA. Let's see if that's what they dial up here. And let's see how the Vikings try to defend it. You'll notice Beglitzoff is in there, number 12. They don't always have him play on defense, but you can tell Coach Krieger thinks this is an important, very important possession right here if he's going to have Beglitzoff out there instead of getting that much-needed rest on the bench.
He's their best wide receiver and kicker and punter, so the time that he has to sit is on defense, but for pivotal possessions, you see him in there, and it looks like he's playing corner.
So Pellegrini back to pass. There's pressure brought by Saleh Langi, and an interception by Antonio Jeffrey. As that pass was thrown into triple coverage, it really did not have a chance, Danny.
It kind of felt like a long punt, like a decently long punt in some ways. It was thrown up, and his own receiver didn't really have much of a chance to catch it because there were 3 guys there, and unless all 3 Mills defenders go for the interception and hit each other, then they're going to make the play and get possession.
And give credit to Chris Costa, the intended receiver there. He did his best to try to fight Jeffrey for that ball, but Jeffrey was able to rip it away using that strength. We talked about his great talent as a running back, but let's not forget, he's also a very talented cornerback as well.
You bet, and yeah, you have to give credit to the offensive player for nearly making it at least difficult to do it, but in a situation like that, it's tough.
So now Jeffrey fumbles this one. The ball is loose, and Cap trying to fall on it. There's no signal yet from the refs. It looks like Mills recovered, and not only recovered, but got a gain on the play of about 8 yards.
That was a wild fumble because there were lots of players who had an opportunity to get it, but nobody really fell on it. It was more just bouncing around and guys trying to figure out where the ball was. But
it's that football, Danny. It's not round. You never know where that thing's going to bounce to.
And so you saw, in many ways, the best possible circumstance for a play when Jeffrey never seemed to have control of the ball. That wasn't an instigated fumble. That was just a fumble based on never having control.
Probably not the best way to gain yardage, though, just fumbling the ball up the field. So let's see what they do on 2nd down. And it's a keeper by Adkins. He's up the middle. Looks like he's got the first down. He'll be tackled by Royal LA, and he'll make it down to the 32-yard line of Cap.
And in something we've seen at various points during this half and in the first half, LA did a nice job reading the play, but when you already have gotten enough yards for a first down, it feels a little bit hollow, even though it did prevent a larger gain. So now, even though in many situations...
only the third... I'm sorry, Danny, go
ahead.
for it. So that was only the 3rd carry by Atkins there, now with a total of 15 yards. He's been doing it more with his arm than with his legs.
He has, because that's where the opportunities have been, and because Jeffrey has 2 touchdowns already, so he doesn't have to run it himself.
And speaking of Adkins and Jeffrey, that's who's in the backfield here. And they hand it off to Jeffrey doing that read option game. Jeffrey gains a solid gain of about 6 yards. They'll take it up to the Capuchino 27.
And it looks like Matthew, again, we've talked about how Ole and Matthew are their two best defensive players, and there seems like they're in on everything. Matthew was in on that tackle.
So Antonio Jeffrey over 100 yards now. He's got 107 yards on 11 carries, and certainly been the featured back in this one. Let's see if they give it to him again. It's a keeper to Adkins, running behind Sved's block, and plenty of real estate there. It'll be a first down on, gosh, looked like just too easy of a run there, Danny.
The defense was looking for Jeffrey, and they, with good reason, because he just broke 100 yards, and Adkins kept the ball and had the space to get a first down without too much struggle and too much risk of a fumble.
And perhaps Marquise Adkins heard us when we said he hadn't been doing enough with his legs, because that was a nice run right there. And it looks like we have a timeout on the field as we've come to the end of the third quarter. Our score in the Battle of the Strip, it is Mills 24 and Capuchino 7. Many thanks go to the Magnolia of Millbrae for sponsoring this event. The Magnolia of Millbrae is a welcoming place for seniors who want luxurious living conditions with a swimming pool, fine dining, and a gated covered parking garage. For more information, please contact www.themagnolia.com or call area code 650-697-7700 or toll free at 1-888-860-6915. Thanks again to the Magnolia of Millbrae.
And if you are enjoying watching this program or any other programs on MCTV, consider becoming an MCTV underwriter. It's a great way to get your name on local television and to support the Millbrae community. And of course, your support is crucial in helping MCTV to produce quality programming with a local focus. For info on underwriting opportunities or to sign up for an underwriting package, contact MCTV at area code 650-259-2343 or send an email to info@mctv.tv.
So there's a pass there, complete to Jefta Zapata, as we were finishing that up. And it was for a touchdown. So just like that, our score is 30-7 and perhaps about to be 31. Well, there's a whistle. Offsides on the defense, which on a point after does not really make a big deal unless you want to take advantage of that and go for the 2-point conversion. However, it doesn't appear that Mills will be doing that here.
And by going for a pass play on the first play of the new quarter, Mills wanted to make a definitive statement on how they wanted this game to go. And now it's going to be much harder for Capuchino to get back and to make this a game that they have to sweat.
Facing a steep hill to climb, you're right, Danny. With 11:56 left in the fourth quarter, barely 4 seconds have gone by, but it's now 31-7, Mills over Cap.
So Capuchino, they've had some quality possessions. They've had some quality, more accurately, they've had some quality plays within possessions, and they're going to need a few of those in relatively quick succession in order to make their home crowd pumped up and get them back into fighting distance in this game.
We're going to need to string those steps forward together and avoid those steps backward.
And if you can get enough steps for another 93-yard touchdown run, more power to you.
Well, it'd be pretty tough for me. It sure would take a lot of steps to go 93 yards, I can tell you that much.
A lot of steps and a lot of oxygen.
So we'll have to see how Cap responds after that lightning quick touchdown scored by Mills. And Beglitzoff Back as always to kick. Ortega now is accompanying Costa in the backfield, not Gabe Campos. I guess coach got tired of seeing Campos run side to side instead of straight forward. So here's Ortega. He evades an arm tackle, but finally brought down. It's Amin Alizé on that tackle.
Ortega did a nice
job. As well as, I'm sorry, Danny. As well as Jaime Alfaro.
Ortega did a nice job there getting through the first line of defense and getting about as much yards as he could, because Mills had it well defended to about the 35, but to get there was a quality return.
So another Mills player is down. It looks like that's big Saleh Langi, their tough, dominant nose tackle. And that'll be a big loss for Mills if Saleh Langi can't stay in there.
And while all phases of the game are important, it's always disappointing to see a key defensive player go down on special teams. But when you're in a situation like Mills is, where they don't have a ton of players on their roster, you need guys to be warriors, and Saleh Langi has certainly been that in this game.
Looks like just a cramp, perhaps. They've got him back up on his feet.
Number 67, Felicio Landry, coming off the field.
And it looks like Cap taking advantage of that opportunity for an impromptu timeout. Now comes back onto the field to huddle.
And without their nose tackle, we'll have to see if Cap tries to go up the middle, which they've tried to do a lot in this game, and Saleh Langi has been a big reason why that has not worked out.
Absolutely, Danny. Let's see if they can take advantage of Saleh's absence on this play, because he might be coming in on the very next play. And here's that empty formation again with 5 wide receivers. This time, it's a designed quarterback keeper. Pellegrini around the left side. He gets a solid gain there, about 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 5 from the 40-yard line.
And it looked like they were trying to go up the middle originally, but when what was open was on his left side, Pellegrini just ran towards the sideline and got extra yardage.
Great decision-making by Pellegrini. We've seen throughout this game, he's quite a leader on the field.
He is, and he's probably been their best player other than Ortega's run of maximizing what he has and making something even when nothing really is there.
And making plays on both sides of the ball, obviously with his arm and his legs, but then with the interception. And there's a flag again, and it looks to be on Cap, as you can sense some frustration shining through from the Mustangs now as they continue to move backwards thanks to penalties.
And you have to be disappointed when you have a good 5-yard run like Pellegrini did there to have that completely negated by a false start penalty, because it takes all of that away.
So it'll be 2nd down now for the Mustangs. And this time, Pellegrini goes out as a wideout towards the bottom of your screen with Rodriguez. Costa takes the snap. Now he keeps on a design keeper, and he's up to the 40-yard line. So really not much past the line of scrimmage, if any, on that. I guess you could call it a wildcat. Oh, no, sorry, I beg your pardon. It's a gain of 5 yards, and this will be 3rd and 5.
We saw earlier in the game on a fake punt that Costa is not much of a threat to throw the ball. So when you're in that situation where you only have 2 running backs back there, you have to anticipate the run, and 5 yards is a quality gain, but not as much as they were certainly hoping for.
It looked like a very quick pump fake by Costa, threw off the defense enough to get them that 5-yard gain. Plus it kind of helped that he was running behind Royal LA.
Absolutely.
So now they're back to their empty backfield formation with Pellegrini and no one. And Pellegrini, another keeper around the right side. This time, the Vikings are all over it. And that was, it looked like Victor Beglitzoff on the tackle.
And it was another big play for Mills on defense, and so Beglitzoff was in there. He saw the quarterback run coming and was standing exactly in the position where Pellegrini had to decide if he was going to cut in or go out. He tried to go out. There was no space.
And this is why Coach puts Beglitzoff out there. He's a smart player, and even with a 31-7 lead and 9.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter, it's the battle of the strip. You know Coach Krieger's taking this very seriously.
And you can't take too many chances in a rivalry game. You want to make sure that when you have a chance to solidify the win that you do that. And so now it's a difficult situation for Capuchino.
So Pellegrini from the shotgun steps up in the pocket. Now he's trying to evade. A long throw looking for Khalid Arakat, but maybe a miscommunication there as Khalid turned inside, running a post route, and Pellegrini threw a corner route to the outside.
We also saw a smart play there by Joshua Sved, because there was a possibility that he could have gone over and tried to intercept that ball, but he realized that since it was 4th down, there wasn't really anything to be gained by intercepting the ball, so he just put his hands in the air and celebrated the change of possession.
So a huge turnover on downs as Cap was building a little bit of momentum, but unable to convert. And now that dangerous Vikings offense comes back on the field with all their weapons locked and loaded.
And we
Jeffrey in the backfield, Beglitsov, and Rondell Dondoy in on offense as the receivers. That's a surprise.
Absolutely.
Rondell Dondoy, their outside linebacker, the Bull, who basically makes a living off of just charging into the backfield.
But as we've seen in this game and in other games, that in high school football, when you have a quality athlete, you want them on the field as much as possible. So if you can make a catch or if you can spread out the defense for space for Beglitsov, it's more power to Mills. Excellent decision to maybe catch them off guard, and Capuchino called a timeout. We don't know exactly why, but that could have been part of it.
So let's see if Cap makes an adjustment to the presence of the Bull on offense, or let's see if they take Dondoy out of there now that the element of surprise has been lost.
It would have been fun to see, because Pellegrini is looking to be the corner on that side. It would have been fun to see the guy who's been tackling Pellegrini all day to go after him as a wide receiver and see if maybe he could have returned the favor like he did on the quarterback Adkins earlier in the game.
So here comes the Mills offense running back out into the field. It'll be first down from their 35-yard, from the Capuchino 35-yard line, excuse me. And here's another whistle. But looks like we'll be able to get this one underway here. And they give a play-action fake to Jeffrey. Well guarded on the play was J.P. Sanchez, as that was Ibrahim Abugosh on the defense, and there was really no place to put that ball. Not a smart throw by Atkins.
Absolutely none. You have to, in a situation like that, if you're Atkins, you have to find something else, because there was literally zero space on the field where he could have thrown that ball to get a catch. So you have to look for somebody else, or maybe even look to run. We've talked before about how he's been a quality runner when he has to.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Vikings. And this time they give to Jeffrey, and he is swallowed up in the backfield by guess who? Big old George Fafita, shutting down that play before it could even develop.
And the other thing about the previous play is that an incomplete pass doesn't run the clock, and when you're sitting in a situation where you have the advantage and the other team has had a big score before, you want to make sure that you can bleed it out a little bit, and that's more of what we saw there, a more traditional play call when you have the ball in opponent territory and the lead in the 4th quarter.
So it'll be 3rd down here for the Vikings. And a big opportunity here for Cap to try to shut this drive down, get the ball back with 7 minutes and 50 seconds left in the game. Sved and looks like Beglitsov wide out to the bottom, and here's another flag. And that's a false start by Mills. So they'll go back 5 yards, leading to a upcoming 3rd and 16.
The penalty parade continues, even though we haven't seen that many offensive calls against Mills. So that's more of an unusual thing, but having penalties has not been unusual in this game. And now Capuchino's in a situation where if they want to, they can pin their ears back and rush the passer, because on a 3rd and 15, you cannot run the ball unless you're just trying to slow down the game, trying to ice out the game.
But what happened the last time they did that? Mills perfectly called a draw to evade that pressure, and Sved took it up the field for 30 yards for a touchdown. But here we have another false start by the Vikings as they are going backwards in a hurry.
And now if they got a 30-yard run by Sved, they'd be barely getting a first down, because now it looks like it's about 3rd and 20, 3rd and 21. It
will be a 3rd and 20 So let's see what the Vikings are able to do here. They've got J.P. Sanchez wide out to the bottom of your screen. Beglitzoff and it looks like that's Dondoy again at the top. No, it's Sved, Zapata, but they throw it to Sved. He's still alive. There was no whistle. And the Cap players are yelling at the refs, saying that that was down, but the ref says, no, it wasn't. And Mills able to get a solid gain, but still not enough for the first down.
You hear at every level of football that you play through the whistle there that many of the Cap players stopped before the whistle because they expected a tackle. And while it didn't make the difference changing it from a 4th down to a 1st down, that did get them some meaningful yardage. So that's a learning and coachable experience for Capuchino moving forward.
And on the other side of the ball, Josh Sved, as you said, coach says pound for pound, he's tougher than anyone. And there he did not give up. He could have gone down, but he didn't and made something out of that play. Now Mills going for it on 4th down. Here's the option. Adkins on the keeper. He's met with a tough hit. It looked like that was Ibrahim Abugosh on the tackle. And it looks like it will be enough for a Vikings first down. So facing a 3rd and 20, Mills converts on 2 plays, and now we've got an injured Mustang player. Looks like that's Abugosh who made the tackle.
And you have to feel for Capuchino there because they had done such a good job and gotten the benefit of a couple penalties. And to have that 3rd and 20 turn into a first down is just deflating for a team.
Not only that, but they had Sved down in the backfield or near the line of scrimmage on that 3rd down and could not make the tackle, and instead he busted it for a big play.
Quality effort, yards after the catch leads to success. It's been a story all game, and it continued to be the case there.
And very frustrating for the Mustangs here. And now they have to sit and watch their starting strong safety, Ibrahim Abugosh, limp off the field. And yikes, Danny, that does not look good at all.
It does not. You got to feel for him. Wish him the best. It's senior night. It's always, but he's a junior, so fortunately he will be back next year.
This game is so tough, Danny. It's so physical, and it takes its toll. And these kids, they pour their heart out. They subject their bodies to so much punishment. And a well-deserved hand for Abugosh as his coach, Coach Horton, carries him off the field.
And when your teams play with so few guys, you have to be doing it for the love of the game because many of these players are playing offense and defense, and some of them are playing special teams too.
So Adkins will come out now with 4 receivers and Jeffrey in the backfield. Clock continuing to tick. There's 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. This throw intended for Beglitzoff, almost intercepted. Becerra was there, and so was.
That actually paralleled one of the Pellegrini throws earlier that was intercepted in that it was thrown into triple coverage to a quality receiver, but the Capuchino players just could not get their hands on the ball to get the big interception that their team really needs to come back in this game.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the Capuchino 25-yard line.
It is a little bit surprising that they're throwing the ball considering the situation, but when it's a rivalry game, you got to do what you feel you're comfortable with.
Let's see if they run it here. It is a give to Jeffrey. Jeffrey right up the middle and jukes and into the end zone for another Vikings touchdown. Antonio Jeffrey, his 3rd touchdown of the game.
And a really remarkable game so far for Jeffrey. He originally actually started at Mills as a quarterback. He was a quarterback as a freshman, but then he switched to running back as a sophomore. And Coach Krieger had lots of praise for him, saying he's the type of running back you want to have on your team every year.
Coach Krieger talked about how he challenged Antonio Jeffrey to be a tougher runner. He talked about how Jeffrey wanted to score more on a team with so many weapons, Beglitzoff and Sved and Adkins. And he said, Coach, I want to score more. And Coach said, you got to show me. You got to show me. Well, Jeffrey responded to that, and he certainly has shown Coach in the past 3 games as he continues on his stellar role.
And he's trying to, if he wants to keep playing football, he's going to be probably playing for a junior college or a small school. And a game like this in your rivalry game against a quality opponent is exactly how you do that with 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns and 127 yards now on 13 carries for the senior running back, Antonio Jeffrey. For Cap, Now, with 4:49 left in the fourth quarter and facing a 31-point deficit, pretty tough mountain to climb here, Danny. But you think they're going to try to get some more points on the board just to send their fans home a little happier, and the players.
You would have to think so, especially on a senior night. You want to, if you are going to go down, you want to go down fighting, and you want to go with the best plays you can. We saw them air it out at the end of the first half. I fully expect to see them do that at the end of the second.
These Mustangs are a tough bunch, and they've got a lot of pride. They've got a lot of heart. I don't think any guy in green and gold is going to be giving up on that field.
And considering they're holding the Battle of the Strip trophy right now, and they've had it for the last couple of years, and they've crowed a little bit from what we've heard about their pride of having it, you know that they want to take everything they have to make sure that they hold on to it for as long as they can.
And you know what, Danny? This one's not over. Stranger things have happened with 4:49 left, but it's going to take some electric plays from the Mustangs to win this one. So here's a pooch kick fielded by Austin Kaiser Hall. And he again comes sideways across the field, makes it to the 30-yard line, and that's where the Cap offense will take up possession.
And you have to be a little bit concerned if you're Cap beyond the score that their biggest play was a run. And at this point, you're probably not going to be trying many runs up the middle and hoping that they go like the Ortega run did. But they have had success passing the ball, so you can't ignore that.
You can't ignore their success passing, and you can't ignore their success running if it results in first downs, which will stop the clock and allow time for the Mustangs to line up again.
And they're going to need a series of first downs in all likelihood, because even if you're getting big gains, you want to have the middle of the field open, because otherwise the sideline becomes another defender, and both teams have used that in a good way early.
So this will be the final timeout for the Mustangs of the half and of the game, as Coach Horton, sensing this is a pivotal moment here, wants to say another word to his players.
Surprising that you use a timeout right after a change of possession when the clock is stopped, but if you see something that you need to correct, it's a coachable moment, and it's a chance to make a real imprint on your team as you go into the last couple of possessions of your seniors' last game and the last end of a rivalry game.
And it looks like it may be that some of the seniors are coming out on the field now. I see the senior Ridwan Khan, number 85. Carlos Tapia is in there as well. So I think Coach Horton, recognizing it's senior night and wanting to give some playing time to some of those kids that have worked so hard for 4 years here, I like the call by Coach Horton, giving some playing time to those seniors.
It's a very nice gesture, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Coach Krieger do exactly the same thing for Mills.
There's also Ashwin Chaudhry, number 87, lined up towards the bottom of your screen. And it's a high snap, but they give it to Costa. Costa up the middle successfully for about 7 yards. So it'll be 2nd and 3 as the clock continues to run. There's now nearly 4:20 left in the fourth quarter.
And we should mention that Chris Costa is also a senior, so putting an end to his career as the starting running back, and with another nice quality run there.
Pellegrini's still in there, though, the junior quarterback. He's joined in the backfield by Zeke Ross, another senior, and they'll give it to Ross. Ross hit by Zapata, evades Zapata, but there's Mills, there's white jerseys every which way you look, and it looks like he got a first down, so that will stop the clock and move the chains. It'll be a first down for the Mustangs.
And so now we're sitting there, and we're going to see how Capuchino chooses to spend these last couple minutes. It looks like they're going to give their seniors some chances, and you've got to like that with the margin the way that it is.
So now Austin Kaiser Hall in the backfield, along with Ridwan Khan, and they give it to Kaiser Hall, but he's taken down at the 40-yard line by Jefta Zapata.
And we've seen earlier Kaiser Hall, when he's gotten a chance on kick returns, he moves pretty well around by the tackles, but doesn't go as much downhill. But nice to see him get a chance to run the ball there.
Absolutely, Danny. So Tapia continues to be in, as does Zeke Ross. There's Ashwin Chaudhry, number 87, he of the Yellow Sox.
And we see J.P. Sanchez in on defense, actually, for Mills.
So both rosters with a little bit of shuffling here. Pellegrini now back to throw. Pellegrini looking long, he's looking for Ross, and it is caught not by Ross, but by Josh Sved for the interception, and he's going the other way. Now he's past the 50, he's to the 45, and pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line is Josh Sved as he intercepted Pellegrini on that one.
And it is entirely unsurprising to see a feisty player like Josh Sved going for the interception. And you can see the replay right here. Pellegrini went back to pass, and he had a man down there, but he also had Josh Sved, and Sved was just closer to the ball, made a beautiful play on it, and looks like about 20 to 25 yards on the interception return. So a nice end of the season for him, and Sved has had a very nice all-around game in this one.
Indeed, justifying all the praise that Coach Krieger heaped upon him. As he said, he's the toughest guy on the team. Well, sure looks like it. He's been doing his own Victor Beglitsov impression and making an impact in all phases.
And with just 2 minutes left, I think we'll probably just see Mills run the ball out, run the clock out, and take back the trophy.
So now there's a Sajin Matthew running out in the field. Perhaps thought that a senior might be taking his place as well. Of course, he is a senior. And like you said, it is just a run by Mills.
And now we're just seeing, we're seeing a nice, in a way, classy ending of the game. Seeing a lot of seniors get a chance to really kind of say goodbye to the high school football life and say goodbye to their teammates on the field.
And say goodbye to their friends who are in the stands off the field. You notice the Cap fans have not left. They're remaining, they're supporting their team, they're supporting their seniors. Great classy showing here by the Mustangs all around. And now a give, they're giving to Jerry Ibanez in for the Vikings to handle the running duties. I guess Antonio Jeffrey can call it a night.
He can. And he had an awfully impressive game, and he's had a string of them. I mean, we talked about that he had about 450 yards in the last 2 games, and he had 3 touchdowns and over 100 tonight.
So just 28 seconds left in the game here in the 55th battle of the strip. Likely about to see another handoff from the Vikings, and we do. Another give to Ibanez. He's swallowed up by Zeke Ross and Sajin Matthew, among others. And that will just about do it, Danny, as the battle of the strip is over. And our score at the end of this one is the Mills Vikings 38 and the Capuchino Mustangs 7. And a joyous celebration for the Vikings. A sad moment for the Mustangs. But here, the handshake, the class, and you gotta love high school football.
You absolutely do, and the story of this game has to be the skill position players for Mills. Sved, Antonio Jeffrey, and Victor Beglitsov all had strong games, and Capuchino just didn't have an answer. They had trouble tackling them in the open field, and now you can see the players celebrating, and it looks like they're going to be celebrating with their trophy for the first time in a couple of years.
That's right. Antonio Jeffrey, he about whom we spoke so much, was the first one over to the Cap sideline, snatched away that Battle of the Strip trophy, and now the Mills Vikings celebrating with a trophy for the first time in several years. You know they're really feeling good about turning the tide on this rivalry.
You bet, and after a classy mutual embrace and celebrating the game and doing all of that, they're celebrating on their own end. They're not showing in anybody's face. They're reaping the spoils, but they're not doing it in any way to show off, and that's exactly how you like to see a game like this end.
And on the other side of the ball, a lot of long faces, a lot of heavy heads hanging, but if I'm Coach Horn, I tell my kids, you don't hang your heads at all. You guys played a heck of a game. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, Danny.
They fought hard. They played through the last spell. They kept on making tackles. They kept on making plays, but they just didn't have enough to make the margin tighter or to pull it out. Well,
ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to purchase a DVD of today's game, it's easy. We offer copies for sale online at the address you see on your screen right now. MCTV has an online store through square.com. You can also give us a call at area code 650-259-2343 and we'll take your order over the phone. DVDs can be ordered for pickup at our office, or you can have the DVDs mailed to you for a small additional charge. DVD sales go to support the production of our sports events, so not only do you get a great memory captured on video, you do something good for the community. For more info, give us a call or check our website, www.mctv.tv. Don't wait, order 1 or 10 today.
Sign up.
Well, thanks to the MCTV Sports crew, and a special thanks to the students of the Capuchino and Mills High School Art of Video class. They give us great halftime videos, and we are very pleased to have the students from Capuchino helping MCTV as a crew for this 55th Battle of the Strip football game. It's been a great time, a good game, and we're looking forward to being back for next year's game, which will be at Mills High School. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Danny, thank you so much for being with us. It started out as a back and forth battle, but in the end, the war of attrition just favored the Vikings.
And there were big plays on both sides, but overall, Mills just had more of them, and on their defense made more tackles early, close to the line of scrimmage, and they prevented some of the big plays that Capuchino was trying to do. And thank you so much for having me. It was an absolutely wonderful time. The crowd was great, the enthusiasm was there, and we saw a passionate but clean game the whole way through.
Great atmosphere, great matchup, great talent on both sides of the ball. It's a shame that one team had to come away from this with heavy hearts, but they can hold their heads high for a game played well. And on the other side of the ball, Mills with a lot of celebrating to do after winning this 55th Battle of the Strip. So for everyone at MCTV, for RealGM.com's Daniel LaRue, whom I stubbornly call Danny, this is Revi Sahai signing off. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you. We'll see you next time for football on MCTV.